Welcome to the intersection of technology, cybersecurity, and society. Welcome to ITSPmagazine. Knowledge is power, now more than ever.
Okay, is this chats on the road or back from RSA Conference? Let me think about it. Yeah, we're back. We're definitely back. We were there already, what it seems to be a long time ago, more than 2 weeks. And I was there. ITSPmagazine was there. A bunch of our hosts were there. We created a ton of content. And we were there. First of all, I want to thank everybody in the organization of RSA Conference for beautiful days of sun in San Francisco. I don't know how you did it, but that was great. Number one.
It was amazing. And our CFO lives in San Francisco, and he said the Monday afterwards that the weather had already deteriorated. It was so fun. We got so lucky.
So good job on that.
Yeah, I know. I'd like to think we orchestrated that one, but obviously we didn't. But it makes such a difference, doesn't it? I think it just really affects people's moods. It just felt there was great energy from start to finish. And, you know, obviously, I think that's always to do with the community coming back together. But throw in some sunshine.
It helps.
It's a winning combination. And
the beautiful gardens in the back. You go from one side of the other. It's always nice to put your shades on and enjoy some good lighting. And overall, like I said, we were there. We witnessed. It was a fantastic event. RSA Conference, San Francisco, 2023, and we're here for a quick recap with Cecilia and Linda, which we both have the honor and the pleasure to speak before the event. So honestly, we don't have an agenda right now. We're chilling at the things that happened. The things was exciting and beautiful, in my opinion. The event was exactly what I actually expected to be. But I wasn't the one running around. And I've seen you, Linda, running around quite a bit. So how about a quick introduction of who you are for the people that don't know you? And how was it?
Yeah, so I'm Linda Gray-Martin. I'm responsible for the RSA Conference event. And it was, honestly, it was a fantastic experience. And, you know, our theme, as we talked about when we chatted before the conference, was Stronger Together. And you could really feel that. I really think you could feel it. There was just, as I said at the top, this is energy this year. And, you know, our attendance was higher than last year, which is fantastic. So, you know, we are doing our final audit, which takes a few weeks. So we were right around the 40,000 attendee mark to be confirmed. But you could feel it, I think. But you could feel it in a really positive, good way. And I think we'd really worked on the flow of attendees and space, and we'd also really worked on attendee experience and trying to create these moments that people would remember. For example, I'm sure you would have seen this, Marco, because it was really near where you guys were positioned. But did you see the common thread, the string wall that was out in front?
Yes.
So little uniting things like that people loved it. So we asked attendees to choose from different colored threads dependent on how long they've been in the industry. And then they would create this unique pattern by winding them around these kind of nails that corresponded to a personality trait or something that they were. And it was just amazing to watch this thing build over the course of the week. And it was almost like a kind of community work of art at the end. And, you know, we did a lot of that. And another example was just having some musicians at lunchtime and on the streets not after hours, but towards the end of the day. And it just helped create this kind of festival-y kind of vibe, I think. And I feel like you could feel that throughout. And I'm sure, Cecilia, where you were for most of the time up in Sandbox and with your scholars and students, hopefully you had that same feeling of energy.
Yeah, absolutely. It was incredible. What a fun event this year. Coming back after a couple years after COVID to just be all together again. And it felt like people were ready. And like you said, we did order up the sunshine for you. So Marco, you're welcome. But it did help. And then when you walk outside, you had the music and you kept seeing people you hadn't seen in a while, and you're connecting with them over a coffee or just in the hallway or the hangout zones. I just think that what we tried to accomplish in making these special moments, we did. And we tried to make it easy for people. We have other people out there telling people where to go. We were trying to streamline our agenda. We did lots of fun things to really make it more accessible. And I think it's coming through on just how people are reacting to it and what they came out of it and all the positive LinkedIn posts. You see everybody, look at this is why we come to RSA. It's us with 75 of our friends. So, and the scholars, of course, were just ecstatic. I mean, anything you do with them, they're so grateful for. So I feel so blessed to be part of that. The Innovation Sandbox contest had a great feeling right from the start. It had a great winner. It had a great top 10. So everything about this conference, honestly, on the other side of it, it went better than we all thought it might.
Well, that's great. And that's exactly why I would like to stay for a little bit here is we talked a lot about people coming back again and again and again. And, I don't even know how many times all our friends have been there. But there were a few people, even in our circle, that were there for the first time. And I know, Cecilia, you deal with a lot of first-timers there. I know you have way to make them feel comfortable. But one thing is the theory, and one thing is in the practice of things. And I have seen people getting together. I've seen people stopping in the middle of the corridor, talking to each other, introduce new people. That happened to me. We may have picked up a couple of new hosts for our podcast while we were there.
Oh, good.
Very cool. And I'm assuming this is kind of like how I felt on your side there with the villages and the expo, the newcomers there and the scholars.
Right.
Was it that vibe that I feel, was it real?
Absolutely. One thing, I'm going to flip it to Linda and then have Linda flip it back to me, but I want you to talk about that first timer event, Linda, because I think that set such a tone.
Yeah, it did. So I think we talked about this. We mentioned we were doing it, Marco, and it was on the Sunday night, and it was for first timers. And also for our Loyalty Plus attendees, so people who have been to at least 5 RSA conferences, and we brought the two groups together because we figured that there would be some really good learning for the first timers from the Loyalty Plus, and on the other side, the Loyalty Plus people, those people that are really invested in RSA conference, love to share, their knowledge with people who haven't been before. And oh my goodness me, it was absolutely jam-packed. And we had a pub trivia quiz. There were like two goes around for it, and it was such a uniting event. And one of my colleagues was sat on a table with a group of people who hadn't been before, and by the end of it, they had created a WhatsApp group and they stayed in touch throughout the week. And honestly, that was exactly what that was for. And I get all like, oh, that's exactly what we wanted to happen, because those people may well have made connections that will see them through their professional career, and that I think is one of the beauties of RSA Conference. People make those kind of depth of connections there, and it keeps them coming back. So yeah, that first timers reception was great. And then a funny story. So I don't know if you were there for the closing keynote session with Hugh Thompson and Christopher Lloyd. It was about quantum, and Christopher Lloyd kind of brought it home with his Back to the Future experience. And we put 5 golden tickets under 5 random seats in the keynote room. And Hugh announced that right at the end. And if you were a golden ticket winner, you would have the chance to have your photo taken with Christopher Lloyd at the DeLorean that we had at the back of the room. And one of the winners was also at that first timers reception on the Sunday, and just seemed to have the best experience from start to finish. And that first timers reception kicked the whole leaf off for that person. And it was just so heartwarming to see that kind of great experience that this person had. So that was just an absolute standout moment for me personally.
Talking about if coming around full circle from the beginning to the end.
Yeah.
I mean, people maybe may not be in our community listening to this podcast, but you put a DeLorean there and the geek in you is just gonna,
absolutely,
it's gonna light up.
Right, and it looked like the one in Back to the Future, and you have Doc Brown there, who was the nicest man, and just very, very warm when you met him, which isn't always the case, with these celebrities, but he was just an absolute joy and was so excited to meet people. It was really special, really special. And I'm sure that person will remember that experience.
For sure. You have a good influencer there and ambassador for a conference forever. Cecilia, a couple of highlights maybe on your side of the innovation box. And I was there. I met with the guys, our friend at the Aerospace Village, and I heard weird story about a toilet in there. I don't know if you want to talk about that. And I saw you there too the day before.
I know, of course you did. It's like one of my it's my second home. It's like it's actually my homing ground while I'm at conference. I do a lot of other things around there. But you asked about these moments that we created where we built out, 40,000 people is a lot of people. And so it's hard to create a connection point for a lot of these people when they're coming in from outside. And I think one of the things that I've been really proud of that RSA Conference has done is to create that moment like Linda was talking about with that first timer. We do the same in this very curated experience with the scholars where they get to meet with the top people like Adi Shamir and with Divi, and their kids are beside themselves and they're all over LinkedIn with their photos with these heroes of our industry. And you have just every single moment. And it just is one of those, we do bring everybody together. And it's a cross-fertilization of ideas, whether it's in the closed door sessions or it's in these, it's in the sandbox. And you keep talking about the sandbox, and I love the sandbox. It's fun. It's that hands-on activity. There are 7 villages that have helped us out this year. They all brought content. They brought ideas. The toilet was there. And if you missed the toilet, you're going to have to come see it in 2024 is all I can say. But it's a moment where people give back. And RSA Conference is a great place where you see all the experts get on the stage and they share their knowledge with our audience and with the community writ large. Or in the sandbox where these guys are volunteering and they're trying to teach you how to get better at what you do. And I love that we were able to tie this all together, whether you're in privacy, whether you're in government, whether you're in the business side of it, we do it all together. And then on top of it, we have that expo floor, which is crazy, but super incredible because where else can you get all of those different companies sharing their thoughts, their ideas, and their products to our whole community. So anyways, long and short, great overall.
Good. That's all I wanted to hear. Let's talk about with thinking how the expectation was and what it has become. I mean, we know attendance was great. Everything was pretty smooth. No big surprise, great organization. But for example, on our side, that we had a lot of conversation. One of the things I always like to ask is, what's the buzzword of this year? Like many people talk about people stronger together. That was a theme of the conference, and I can't imagine a better headline for that than this one, a theme. But also, we heard about artificial intelligence, ChatGPT, and a lot of other interesting things. 0 trust. What?
The 000 trust. I love it.
Whatever that is. Like kind of like drink when you hear the buzzword and post about
buzzword bingo.
What was your impression? What was the theme of the conference from what you heard?
Yeah, so from what I witnessed in the keynote room and like in talking to Britta, the predominant theme was generative AI. I would say that just kind of was everywhere. And it's really interesting how these really strong themes emerge, and you look back and you think, wow, that really was everywhere. You see it kind of on paper beforehand, and then you go into the conference and you start hearing it everywhere. So that would be me. Cecilia, I don't know what you thought.
I definitely feel that this threat came up so quickly. Like people weren't even talking about ChatGPT before, I think, November, really. when they accelerated as how many users they had. And now it's become so integral. And the part that's scary is that we don't know where it's going. And so it can be, you know, it's fun because I got to interview Mikko Hyppinen on the Sandbox stage, and he talked about this one particular issue. It's now a race to who gets there first, the good guys or the bad guys. And I think having this platform where RSA Conference was able to allow for these kinds of conversations to happen made it so that we have a good shot. Like the good guys have a good shot.
Right.
But I definitely agree. The ChatGPT, the zero trust, a lot of collaboration. That was the other one I saw. Platform plays, if you're looking at innovation, a lot of the companies that were in the top 10 were in the platform play business, whether it's an API or over in the balance theory guys, which are doing, this is actually from Launchpad, and I really like this kind of idea where they're kind of the GitHub for cybersecurity. They're trying to give a overview to everybody. So the ideas that are coming up are to help automation and getting in there faster. But that would be probably my top level ideas right now. Buzzwords.
Linda, anything that's stuck in your head more than others?
Only what I talked about, really. Because I was in the keynote room from dawn until dusk, and you just saw it was definitely AI, ChatGPT, and a lot of sessions. So yeah, kind of, I guess, in keeping with what we thought, which was great. And the theme as well. I know we said Stronger Together, I know you there, and I absolutely loved Eric Idle's twist on the theme, which was Stranger Together, his keynote title. And oh my goodness me, how the audience embraced him. It was a miracle. And, you know, he's in his 80s and he was bounding around that stage singing. And it was a total highlight, I think, for so many people.
Yeah, it is. People think about this info security, cybersecurity conference to be like, wow, it must be boring. I mean, you guys are just talking about, you know, all this technical thing and security and be safe. And because they hear the story from the news, you know, 2FA, you have to do this. Everybody's out there to get you. But when you're with the people in the community, I have to tell you what did come through for me, which is kind of like, maybe I'm looking for the omens about this, but the humanity of things. So even when we talk about artificial intelligence, we talk about ChatGPT and all the kind of technology we have, it's all about understanding it and how for the first time we are talking more about who we are, because we have to look at who we are in the technology. So ethics, they were all over the places for me. And I don't know, philosophers are more important now than ever with technology.
You have to get Josh Corman on your show, man.
Yeah, no, I saw him. I saw Josh.
Yes, I mean, it is absolutely, we are at the cusp of having to redefine this. I mean, it's always been on the periphery, whether you wanted to talk privacy and security, you know, the balance between the two. But the humanity part, I 100% agree with you, Marco. It's like this is being interjected at a rapid pace, and we need to all work together to make it happen.
Absolutely. I don't want to keep you too much. We already have a lot of content. People can come on the page and listen to everything, both what we did before when we were there, and of course this one as well. But like we were joking before we started, the day after the conference was over, we were already talking about the next one. So I know you need some quiet time. You're regrouping. You have a beautiful board and a lot of people involved in the organization, the content, and so on. But where do we go from here? I love to just, you know, put your futuristic cap on and time machine and let us know one of each.
Well, we are excitingly dipping our toes in the international waters once again. And I think we told you, Marco, about our CISO bootcamp that we had at the US conference this year for kind of up and coming CISOs, kind of a closed door session where people learn from experts and also each other, and again, make connections. That's just such a strong undercurrent and theme that runs through the conference. But we're taking it on the road. And we are going to be in London in early October. And then we are heading to Australia in kind of mid-October. And we're going to be partnering with ASA, the Australian Information Security Association, and CISO Bootcamp will be part of their cyber conference in Melbourne in October. So just 2 small events, but serving critical audiences in both locations. And fingers crossed they will all go well. We're excited to get back out on the road. And then, of course, we're looking forward to the main event next May. May 6th to the 9th, we'll be back with RSA Conference 2024, and plans are already underway. So the call for speakers, sorry, I don't know what happened then. Call for speakers is planned for September time.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. And Cecilia, any thought on what you would like to see maybe improved or different, or what you expect next year to be? I mean, you're coming from a very successful event for what you're organizing. Are you looking for something that, hey, maybe I could push this a little bit more?
Absolutely. But I'm not going to tell you, Marco, because if I do,
I'm still going to invite you. No, I'm still going to invite you next year.
Yeah, absolutely. I have to say that we have, what's crazy is Linda organized a meeting already in Boston in May. And she's like, okay, let's regroup real quick and just have a meeting to kind of see where we want to take this. So there are some really good ideas percolating right now. I definitely, focus on the innovation piece. I have quite a few ideas I'm going to be proposing. But until they're totally locked down and solid, I'm going to stay quiet to make sure that, I overachieve. Like, I'll surprise you with all the goodness. But there's there's so much happening that hopefully you're just going to be thrilled. And we are definitely not sitting still. That's all I'll say. It's like, we are constantly trying to get better. And that is our goal for 2024.
And I agree, absolutely. Keep it alive as you're all excited and celebrating what you achieve and what the entire community did. I mean, we're getting ready for another coverage, and Linda, you just need to give me one excuse to bring my microphone over there in Australia, and I'll be there. RSA Conference Singapore, it's always one of my great memory. So any opportunity, I'll jump on it. So I'll talk about that with Sean. Until then, I want to thank you very much for taking once again the time. I mean, the support we had from the whole PR, your organization made everything super smooth for us. So I hope we created some great content for you, and we just keep working together. And everybody stay tuned. And book your trip for next year.
Now you got to start booking.
Yeah, absolutely. It's never soon enough. So thank you as well. And I think you probably know that just when you talk to our team, we really, really care about RSA Conference. It's so important to us for so many reasons. So to have it go so well just was heartwarming for us, honestly.
Absolutely. And for everybody listening, everything we talked about here, we didn't make it up. We have content, video, podcast to prove it. All those conversations you can find on ITSPmagazine.com. Subscribe, stay with us. And again, Cecilia and Linda, thank you. Thank you very much. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
We hope you enjoyed this conversation. If you learned something new and this story made you think, then share ITSP Magazine with your friends, family, and colleagues. If you represent a company and wish to associate your brand with our conversations, sponsor one or more of our columns. We hope you will come back for more stories and follow us on our journey. You can always find us at the intersection of technology, cybersecurity, and society.